One thing about the complex league, which I think is a good idea that they sent him here. None of the games are televised, and I think it's only a select audience actually can go watch.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 450 Dead Center channel. Chris here with Daniel.
Oh,
Yeah, we got some breaking news that's about 2 days old now, but we've been super busy, and this is Alek Manoah getting sent down to not AAA, not AA, not high A, but like low A or the Dunedin complex or whatever you really want to call it.
lower than low A.
Yeah, it's bad. And there's a reason for this, obviously. Like, if Manoah was just struggling a little bit and need to find himself, then you send him to AAA, maybe get his confidence back against some not as good hitters. But now, he's basically going to the complex to redevelop himself as a pitcher, pretty much. Like, this is where players go when they come back from, like, Tommy John to, like, relearn how to throw a fastball, basically.
Yeah, it's basically like like a rehab place, I guess, for most players, or it's people who are like super new, like just got drafted, just
Yep.
signed free, like international free agency. It's like most of the guys he'll face are like raw potential guys who just haven't really been in the system for long.
Right, yeah, like you said, this is where the international prospects go, like the literal 16-year-olds that you can sign out of the Dominican. And then we have 24-year-old Manoah, who was a Cy Young finalist last year, trying to regain his confidence, relearn how to throw a slider, learn how to throw a fastball that's not down the middle and all that.
And also, I was gonna say the one thing about the complex league, which I think is a good idea that they sent him here. None of the games are televised.
Nope.
And I think it's only a select audience actually can go watch. Like, I don't think you can just general admission go in. Like, I think it's only like MLB scouts and personnel can go in.
Yeah, and right off the bat, I was like reading stuff on Twitter, and I don't think Manoah, like, just say he got sent down, yesterday, right? He's not
Yeah.
going to be in. He's not going to be a starting pitcher down there tomorrow. He's going to probably take like 2, maybe 3 weeks just to throw in bullpen sessions in their complex, get like all the TVs and stats nerds around him for like a whole week or even a month, depends on how long it takes him to find it. And then once they feel like he is ready and that he's found it again or found what he had last year, then maybe then he'll go into a game. But it's not just that he can't pitch, it's also his conditioning. I think that is something that they'll be working on down there. And what better than this? Like, I don't know how much money they spent on the facility, but it was a lot of money. So everything down there is better than AAA for Manoah right now.
Yeah, like you said, the biggest thing is that he's going to be in private. And
Hmm.
like you said, he's not going to go out there and start every 5 days assuming he arrives today or whatever,
Right.
right? Like, he's
Yeah.
not going to go start every 5 days now. It's like, okay, let's throw bullpens for like 4 weeks, 3 weeks. Let's look at
Hmm.
your advanced stats. Let's basically do an off season. That's what you're doing. You're basically doing an off season with these
Yeah.
guys.
No, that's a perfect way to put it because last year, I mean, we saw Manoah throw the most innings he's ever thrown in his life. He threw like 198 innings or something like that. The year before that, he threw like 100, and the year before that was like pandemic, so he threw like nothing. So
Yeah.
right now, he needs to build back up. And I know we had a whole off season to do it, but it clearly wasn't enough. And I guess he needs more time to build and ramp himself back up, get into the regular conditioning that you need for an MLB season, and then maybe he won't affect us this year. Maybe he'll be down there the rest of the year. Maybe he'll be back in a month. We don't really know. But I think him getting sent down like this is also helping for the long term, saves his arm for next year so he's not completely burnt out. So we'll see what happens there.
The other thing I was gonna say is that the Jays, sorry, blank for a second. The
Hmm.
Jays, I think, did the right decision in sending him all the way because if you just send him to AAA, I feel like there would have been more um, pressure on him
Yep.
mentally,
100%.
right? Because then you have to deal with the media and you have to deal with um, going out there every 5 days and pitching, and you have to do now. What if he gets rocked in AAA? You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
there's a whole mental side to it that I think the Jays tried to avoid. The best thing they could to avoid was basically let's send him to our complex league. Let's send him with all our advanced analytic guys. Let's get him out of the public eye for a little bit. And I think the Jays are hoping that this Manoah, they can build back up to the Manoah that we were talking about, where, it was like a Cy Young award winning Manoah for the
Yes.
playoff run.
Right. And Manoah never had this complex when he was coming up through
Yeah.
the minors. Like we said in 2020, he didn't even pitch at all, basically, besides maybe at his home gym or whatever because of the pandemic. And also, the facility was made, I believe, the year after he got called up anyway, like it was finished. So he didn't have a minor league career. He threw like 30 innings in the minors and he went straight up to the MLB. So the development team didn't have like the stats around him to base off what's good Manoah versus what's bad Manoah. Now, in this system or in the AAA or whatever Dunedin complex that they have down there, they'll be able to figure out, yeah, this is what makes you good. This is what makes you bad. Don't throw this pitch. Don't throw that pitch. And I think that's also what'll really help them.
He literally threw 36 innings.
Yeah, in the
I
minors.
just looked it up. He
That's
threw 36 innings,
that's like
and he
four
went from
games.
Vancouver to Buffalo.
That's crazy.
That's it.
That's
And then
that's
2021,
unreal.
he's in the MLB. You know what I mean? So like he didn't learn how to deal with failure, and that's part of the system coming up, right? You deal with slumps, you deal with getting rocked,
Mhm.
and normally, from what I've heard from professionals who have talked about this, that's why the whole minor league thing is important. That's why very few guys, unlike other sports like hockey and basketball, where people get drafted and they go straight to the show, right?
Right.
Baseball, you don't do that. You basically go to like double A if you're really, really good. You go double A, triple A.
Yeah.
So there's a whole failure aspect that now he's got to learn to deal with. And it's just coming up now instead of before when he was rushed through the minors.
Exactly, exactly. So, what are your expectations for Alek Manoah in this? Maybe how long do you think he'll be down there, and maybe what do you expect to see if he actually comes out of this and comes back to the big leagues one day?
I think an ideal situation is that like earliest I can see him rejoining is after the All Star break.
Right. No, that's
I
fair.
don't think you'll see him before that.
Hmm.
I think probably start of August is a realistic expectation. And I think he's gonna go through a whole process. I think he's gonna pitch in the complex league. Well, like, sorry, he's gonna do the whatever 2 weeks of just bullpens.
Yeah.
Then he'll probably do some simulated games for a week. Then he'll do an actual complex game. Then he'll probably do like Dunedin ball. Then he'll probably do. I wouldn't even be surprised to see him in Double A or Triple A for a start.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we see that with players who come off of injury as well. They do a start like AAA or maybe two starts in AAA, and then they get called back up just to really see. And we've also seen that AAA like batters are pitching in AAA is actually quite challenging. You see
Yeah.
all the depth arms that the Jays have; they all suck this year. The ERA is terrible, and I've heard things saying like, yeah, AAA is arguably harder to pitch in some scenarios just because of the pressure that it has when you're coming back. So we'll see what happens to Manoa.
I was gonna say I think Triple A is obviously not as hard as the MLB because obviously there's no Mike Trout or Otani in
No,
Triple
no.
A. But it does have its own challenges. You're right. You're not in the best conditions all the time. Like, let's be real. These fields that they're playing at, they're good fields, but they're no, Dodger Stadium, Angel
Hmm.
Stadium, Rogers Center. Like, you know what I mean? They're no state of the art stuff. And most of the time, it's it's just weirder like scenarios. You know what I mean? Like it's just a
Yeah.
different environment in AAA.
No, exactly. And a lot of they also test a lot of things in the minors as well, sort of
Yeah.
like the automated strike zone. I think they're trying out all these other rules that they might want to implement into the MLB in the future. So you're not used to those as well. So yeah, there are scenarios where pitching in AAA or whatever level on the minors could be more challenging in certain instances.
Now, Chris, I was gonna ask. Obviously, Manoa going down means there's a roster spot open, and I brought up Bowden Francis, right?
Yep.
But do you think he'll actually start? Because I can see an instance where the Jays do a four-man rotation.
Yes and no, because there are a few off days coming up. I believe it's like there's two off days until the end of June, I think it is. So that would help with a four-man rotation as you can literally just
Yeah.
push everybody back a day and then you get that normal rest. If there was no off days, I don't think they would do a four-man rotation because Gosman, Bassett, and I
No,
believe
no, yeah. If there
Barrios.
was no off days, definitely doing a five. But I'm saying with these
Yeah,
off days, I can definitely see them doing a four-man rotation. And like you said, they'll be on somewhat normal rest.
no, they will be for sure. And if they do keep a five and then push that back, Gosman and Bassett are amazing on an extra day of rest anyway. So either way, I think it'll be okay for us. Gosman, we saw him dice 2 days ago, or I guess yeah, 2 days ago. Bassett absolutely diced yesterday. Probably should have got the complete game, but we still won, so whatever. And today we got Barrios on the mound against the Astros, which is gonna be quite interesting. It'll be cool to see what Bowden Francis can do. I don't expect him to go like 6 innings of like shutout baseball or whatever. Like if he can just throw like 4 innings, even maybe five, give up 3 or 4 runs, like I'd be fine with that anyway. Because I know our offense can get back into it. We got Trevor Richards who can throw 2 or 3 innings. Nate Pearson can throw an inning, maybe two if he's really feeling it. So I think we're in a decent spot. We're obviously not in a good spot as we don't have, another starter who's just ready to go. Like Drew Hutchison's gone. All our minor league depth, like they suck. They're like we're
Yeah.
not going to beat around the bush. They're all their ERAs are in like the sevens. Like that's disgusting. But like we have depth, just not good depth, basically.
I think this puts a question on, not a question, sorry. I think this puts a real need for the Jays come the deadline, which isn't far away. Let's be real; it's only 2 months away.
No, it's not.
Um, and before we were obviously talking pitching, we all thought the rotation was going to be fine coming in. And someone left a good comment on the last Manoah video we did, which if you haven't seen it, go check it out in whatever corner it is right now. But they said we were talking about who should replace him and all these options to replace him in that and the trade market. And whoever left the comment basically said that the pitching market is so expensive right now that you're gonna have to give up a ton of stuff for, let's be real, a guy who's probably subpar. So I think the Jays going forward, we should look for a good long man
We had
because
one in Mitch White, but he
yeah,
sucks, and he's now getting converted to a bullpen role.
and we had one before in Stripling who left, and obviously Stripling's having a down year right now. But
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. We should look for a long man because obviously the ideal situation is Manoah comes back, let's say after the All Star break, right? And even if he does struggle, now we have this long man who to come in and pick up the slack, take the stress off the bullpen. And if Manoah does great, now we have his extra arm in the pen who's very, very good.
Right. And I was just thinking of this. So I don't know who would come back first, Manoa or Ryu. But
That's
just
another
say,
question.
for example, you put Manoa and Ryu together. So maybe Ryu starts the game or Manoa starts the game. Maybe one does 3 innings, the other does 3 innings, then you get into the bullpen after that. Or if one's dealing, one does 4 innings, the other guy does 3 innings, you get to the seventh already, like that as well. So I could see them doing a bounce off of Manoa and Ryu, though that is kind of a waste of two, in quotation mark starters. But then again, Ryu's coming off, I believe he had Tommy John, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Some
Ryu
some
had
type
Tommy
of
John.
some type of elbow
Yeah,
surgery.
big old injury, and then Manoa's coming back from being in the lowest possible baseball you can be in a system. So I could see that happening. Will it happen? I mean, we saw it in the 2020 wild card series. I think it was Robbie Ray and Matt Shoemaker. They went split game, I think it
Something like
was.
that. Yeah.
So
Forgot
it's
about
not
Matt
unheard of.
Shoemaker.
Yeah, he was actually good that year.
I
So
know.
it's possible of them doing that, but who really knows?
There's a lot of question marks around this Jays rotation and pitching, I'll say in general. This
Yep.
Jays pitching. And that's scary considering we're what, 4th in the division, 3rd in the division.
Yes,
We're
we're a
like
couple
10
games
games
over.
back behind the Rays or something because they just keep winning.
It's
And
insane.
and let's be real, only 6 AL East teams or sorry, AL teams make the playoffs and a max of 4 in one division can make it.
I know it's crazy because the Twins, they're 31-31 and they're leading the division, and obviously they be tied with Boston? They'd be tied with Boston for last in the AL East.
We're,
So,
good news is though, Chris, we're even though we're 9.5 from the division,
oh, we gained a game. Nice.
we're only 1.5 out on making a wild card spot. So
Right, and that's behind the Yankees,
yeah,
who just lost Aaron Judge, by the way.
Yankees and Astros, actually, I should mention. So
Oh, are we? Oh,
they're
nice.
tied. So it's a good move the Jays did. It was about time. We
Hmm.
have to stop losing games, and you can't just keep throwing Manoa out there to like try to get through it. When
Yeah, you
let's
can't.
be real, if you keep doing this, you're going to be 2, 3, 4, 5 games behind by the end of it, and those make a big difference.
Yeah, and that's sort of what happened with last year with Barrios and Kikuchi. They
Yeah,
would just, I mean, we actually won a lot of Barrios games last year, even though we sucked. But at least we won those games. Like with these Manoa games, like we're out of it in the first inning. When it's 6-0 in the first after giving up a grand slam, and you have one out, like you're not
yeah,
coming back.
and you're just hurting the bullpen. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
So that
I
being
think he'll
said,
come back. I was gonna say I think he'll come back.
mhm,
It's just a matter of time.
yes. So that being said, let us know what your thoughts and opinions on Alek Manoah getting sent down to the Complex League. Finally, remember the name of that. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.